Well, thanks for sitting down.
Yeah.
Taking the time. We've been talking for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
An hour.
Not going to be able to share any of that, but that's good stuff.
Yeah, definitely not staying.
God, dude, this is, we got to be careful because that's going to be the entire podcast. So,
Yeah.
Let's stay away from all of those topics.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that would be such a fun podcast, though.
Both get canceled.
Totally. So, okay, give everybody a quick rundown on you and who you are, what you do.
Yeah, am I breaking the fourth wall here?
Go for it. Up to you.
I don't want to.
Stare at the camera? You want to stare? It's up to you.
No. Cassandra Hartford, fiance, mom, entrepreneur. I tell jokes at night and I sell buildings by day, and then I have some businesses that intertwine with both of those. No, there's no joke at all there.
No.
Yeah.
The whole ride over.
Oh, my bad. Yeah.
No, you're good. But so basically, I guess one of the things is, how'd you get into all this? Because I know.
Yeah.
I mean, Trey told me a couple things, a mutual friend of ours. But
yeah.
How did you? Because you're very. The way I framed it was intense.
Yes.
But you're also like, you're somebody that'll run to the ends of the earth to do things. It's not something where it's like, oh, well, that's too far.
Sure.
You're there.
Yeah.
So like, how'd you get started?
Well, I grew up like 200% under the poverty level. So didn't have a lot of resources as a kid, was super ADD, ADHD, was a D student at best. I was constantly being yelled at, told no. I was never like walking the line, and adults were constantly frustrated with me. And I think that became like, I had to figure out how to do things on my own, and I was told no so often that when I became an adult, I was like, how do I find yes? And like, I just stopped hearing no. Instead of no, it's how. And I think that's, I was a teen mom because of the poverty thing, you know, statistically.
Because of the poverty thing?
Yeah, I mean, nobody's raised the way that I was and doesn't get actually knocked up when you're a teenager. But so I'm a mom. I've 2 kids at 18.
Okay.
So I'm like 18 years old. I'm responsible for these 2 little lives that I love, and I'm like, what do I do?
Twins?
No.
Okay.
They're Irish twins. So I was dumb enough to get pregnant again 6 months later. Like, why didn't they put me on birth control? Like, I clearly don't learn from my mistakes. Should have swallowed twice. Didn't. Have 2 kids now. So I'm 18 and I'm like, well,
okay.
I guess I got to figure it out. He joined the military because what else do you do when you're also 18 with 2 kids?
Yeah.
And that took us out to California, Sacramento area. And we were releasing this condo at this community, and the lady was gabbing about how they were hiring. And I was like, well, fuck it, I'll try to do this.
How old were you at this time?
18.
Okay.
18. And so she hired me. And then the main general manager went on maternity leave for months. Well, it turns out the reason the lady hired me is because she was like robbing all the residents. She was embezzling money. And she would wait on people to be like, hey, we're going to go out of town for 3 days. Can you just keep an eye? They'd be robbed. And like shit like that just kept happening. And like, I'm 3 to 5, like this is, 17 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
But I'm like a couple months into this and I'm like, it's fucking weird. And she's just, I don't know. Right? So I think she was just like, yes, let's hire her. She lives on site, she's available, but also she's fucking clueless. She's a kid.
So you were the fall guy.
I mean, I just was like, she didn't think that I was capable of like picking up on what was happening. But what she didn't know is I was raised by a cop and a liar and then my mom. So I'm used to people like sneaking around and being weird and shit and like picking up on like body language and like, so, when you grow up in an abusive household, you tend to be extremely mindful of people's body language because the happier your abuser, the less likely they are to pay attention to you. So you're constantly just like, you're trying to keep them happy, you're trying to stay in your own lane, and it's like I think that's why I'm good at what I do is because I picked up on like how to read people very early. And then I learned how to manipulate people thereafter. So it kind of manifested into like, this is how you get what you want, more or less. So she didn't know that I had that like innate ability. And I ended up, I was there for 6 months leasing these condos or selling these condos. And that was like my first baby step into sales outside of like Hollister. Yeah. Right? The smell was too much for me. I was like, God, can we turn on the lights? And like, I have a headache 24/7. Like, can we stop with the cologne? Yeah. So I got the sales experience. I ended up going to management there. And I'm like, this lady's like robbing all the residents, right? I ended up getting fired. She like put up a whole stink and like was like, she's whatever, which is so weird because I look back, I check her Facebook once a quarter. I know her name. It's like,
Is she still doing this?
She still looks like she's on Oxycontin. So she's got those like dark circles under her. You know, when you look at someone and you're like, you're a lifetime druggie. Still that lady. They both were. He like had.
There's something different about you.
Anyways, I grew up in the best neighborhood. I got that sales experience there. Husband cheated on me. Moved back to Florida. So that was like a year of my life where like I just got like just sales experience and like chaos. Moved back to Melbourne, Florida, and lied my way through a couple of interviews, and I was managing like 800 units at 21 years old. Give or take, and then that was overwhelming and a lot, and I was super underqualified. That's what happens when you
units. Were you doing that by yourself?
Well, I know we had staff.
Okay.
So it was multiple properties, but that's what happens when you lie in interviews. They put you in positions that you're not qualified for. So before I got fired from that, I decided to quit, and I went into residential sales, like selling property. And then fast forward. So that was probably 15, 16 years ago that I switched from like management roles or like I working for like a company, like a national company, to being an independent contractor. So I've been self-employed for 16 years.
So when did you start? When did you figure out what you wanted to do?
I didn't. No, I was fucking 18 and I had 2 kids. I was just like, I need a job. I got to take what I can get. And like, this is the only skill set I have. So I got to take this skill set and go to like other buildings that look the same and walk in and be like, I can do this thing here, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just dumb, right? And then once you get like a real estate license, you realize you have a license to cash checks. It's
true.
As much money as you want to make and chase, like you literally can.
Yeah.
And I think that was like my ticket to like, oh, there's a whole nother, as much as you want to work, you can make as much money as you want. So I ate dog shit for 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some years I made like 12 grand. Like we're talking, I was on food stamps, subsidized housing, like WIC. I was a single mom at this point because he stayed in California. So I had the 2 kids and I was just literally figuring it out. Living with family members. My first apartment was like $350 a month. It wasn't gross. It just to clarify, it wasn't like a crack den or anything. Yeah, it wasn't a trap house.
Yeah.
No. So I managed the guy's real estate, and he let me live in one of the apartments.
Okay.
And he was doing me a deal because I think he saw something in me and was just like, listen, kid, I'm gonna give you a chance. I'm gonna like, you need to get on your own 2 feet while you're doing that. Manage all my shit. We'll work it out. And I learned a lot from him. But I think by the time I was like 30, 29, 30, I was like, all right, you're selling a ton of property. You're making a ton of money. You're starting to understand that like there's the consumer and then there's businesses. And it's 2 completely different industries, residential and commercial. It should be separate licenses, in my opinion. 2 completely different skill sets. And I decided I wanted to open my own brokerage, which is Reach Commercial. So I took a leap of faith. I was selling, an ton of residential every year. And it's really easy money to walk away from and just like hope it works out. It did, thank God. But we started Reach Commercial 2.5 years ago. And it was myself and Colin. And now we're at 14 people. So we went from 2 to 14 in 2 years by accident because there's so few people in commercial.
Why is that?
It's gate-kept a little bit. So, for instance, here there's 6,000 realtors. There's 15 commercial brokers. So there's so much competition on the residential side. No competition on the commercial side. But
you're talking just in the Melbourne area?
Just Brevard County.
No shit.
Yeah, I think we have 700,000 people here, and there's 6,000 realtors. Because it's easy. It's a 30-day turnover. You're moving here. You want to buy a house. I could sell you something this weekend, you move in 45 days. That's a really quick turnover for both of us. Whereas commercial, the platforms are so expensive. I mean, I think I'm at like $5,500 a month just in like listing platforms and like LoopNet and CoStar. Like, God, they're the fucking devil.
Ouch.
God, they're so unaffordable. So it's like, unless you're selling a ton of real estate commercial, you can't afford the programs. And they don't list any of it on the Zillows or the Realtors.com. So you don't have access to it.
Okay.
It's a whole other industry that you've got to like pay to be a part of. And it's hard. And some of our closings are like 18 months, 24 months. Those paydays are great. Those are 6-7-figure commissions, but it could take years. And sometimes it falls apart at the last month. Ooh. Yeah. So it's the timeline of the transactions. It's the barrier of entry. And it's just like, you don't know.
Yeah.
You know as well as I do, people aren't like super resourceful. Instead of figuring out how to do it, they just go, oh, I don't know how. Fucking figure it out. What do you mean? You don't you don't know how until you do.
Is when the people find an identity and not knowing how to do something, and then they'd rather say it than hire somebody to do it, or just they can learn it themselves.
Yeah, just go learn how. Yeah, I've never.
That's one of, like we talked about before. I think I want to attack the social media people.
Yeah,
I hate them.
Yeah,
I don't hate them.
Yeah,
I just think they're scam artists, and kind of like, because it's a lot of people want to be oblivious to things, and I see that with the older crowd.
Yes.
I mean, you're like 22, so you don't get it yet.
Yeah, no.
But when you take a look like the 45 on up, I'd say a lot of those people just don't want to understand or know anything. Anything. It doesn't matter if it's SEO. It doesn't matter if it's social media. It doesn't matter if it's even building codes. They don't want to know anything. They've already learned their stuff, and they just...
You think it's fear?
I think it's an identity. I mean, when you take a look at people that are a little bit older, I think they'd rather just not know. Be like, oh, I don't know that. And it's like almost a talking point. It's something they stick to. It's like the first reaction.
I think it's a fear of failing.
I could see that.
Because what's the benefit of not knowing? How does that drive an ego? That drives the ego more than figuring it out and failing and not being good at it.
Because you got to start all over again.
That's fucking scary. So it is easier to identify and like, I don't know.
Yeah.
To me, that's beta. I don't like it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Gross. If I'm ever that person who's like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, ew. Don't be so apathetic.
Oh, I'm with you.
Yeah.
That takes me back. Like I was telling you, when I was at that one convention in Milwaukee last year, we had this one gal we were sitting next to. And she literally goes, she just out of nowhere, like we're chatting up with some dudes from Germany. One of the guys is going to be on my podcast soon. And then also this one gal who works for this organization. I can't tell you who she is.
That's okay.
Off camera.
Okay.
But basically, she goes over, she looks at it, she's like, you got to be beta or you got to be alpha. And I'm like, okay, that was out of the blue. But no, I'm with you. Because I think a lot of people, I think it comes down to fear of failure. I agree with you, but I think a lot of people, there's such fear in this world with failure and everything else. Anything you break, I feel like there's always somebody there to fix it. Like, for instance, you're a pretty approachable person that if somebody were like, listen, my whole thing is going up in flames, I'm struggling with this or that.
Yeah.
They could walk in here and you'd be like, okay, let's grab a strong drink and let's have a conversation.
Yeah. Most people do. Have you ever asked anybody for help and they told you no?
All the time.
They tell you no?
Oh, they'll tell me no? No.
No. I'm going to try that again. Have you ever asked anybody for help and they told you no?
No.
No one tells you no.
Yeah.
You know what people love? Showing you how smart they are and giving people advice. Every time I've ever asked anybody for help or how-to or mentorship, it drives their ego. They're doing it for them. No one's going to tell you no.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's the easiest question ever. Hey, can you help me?
Yeah.
No one says no. I don't know. Seems silly.
No. I'm just kidding. No, I'm with you. And I don't know because you're involved in a lot of the entrepreneurship communities and like you see it on a daily basis because you get to work with the businesses as they're getting sold.
Yep.
70-year-old guys worked his life in this business, and the 27-year-old guy that's fresh out of school with his MBA. What's your view on all that, on entrepreneurship today?
Well, it's interesting because I believe for most industries, college is a complete waste of time, and that's.
Did you ever go to college?
I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't. And my spouse went to college. He's an English major, and he has a financial planning practice. He doesn't even use his degree. But happenstance is that...
He's very well spoken.
He's very well spoken. I mean, he can quote Moby Dick, by God.
Yeah.
That's the sexiest thing I've ever heard. But, so, very useful degree. He technically has to have a bachelor's to manage money. However, unless you're managing money, or you're a doctor, or you're in the medical industry, or I think of an attorney, right? Like, there's... No offense, but like, I could dominate in 15 different industries without a single college degree, without a day of classwork. Like, what the fuck are they teaching you? How to read? Get on the internet and read. YouTube. Like, I don't think that you can learn anything in college that you can't literally teach yourself today.
Oh, yeah.
So when the kids are coming out of school, I'm like, I'm watching just droves of them get jobs that have nothing to do with what they studied. So I'm like, okay, you could have been spending these last 4 years building your own business or learning a skill set and make way more money than you're going to make and not have any debt. And then subsequently, the other guys on the other end, they're just old and tired and I want to retire. That's my favorite lead. Old, tired, want to retire. That's my f***ing guy. He loves me because I solve his problems. I make his problems go away. Where's the gap or the merger, I guess, between the two? I don't know. If you're on TikTok a lot, they tell you to go buy small businesses. Yeah. The practicality of that, it's still really fucking hard. It says you can get a small business loan at 5% down, so you can get a loan. Go to college, take that, get a loan, start a business, and learn from scratch and build it up and scale it and sell it to PE.
I'd say it's actually easy.
You think it's easy?
Oh, big time.
I think it's easy.
I know 10 different people that would happily give up their businesses if somebody wanted to work there for a year.
Sure.
And they just like, good luck, see ya.
Sure.
And so then you structure it on a 2% loan. They just want out. Yeah. They want to go retire. They want to come down to Florida. I think it's a lot easier than people give it.
I'm already where everybody's retired though. So I'm a little insulated in that, like, the beach is right fucking there, just close the doors. Where you're maybe in a different part of the country where they're just like, I gotta get out of here. Yeah. Someone come in and take this over.
Oh yeah, and nobody wants to stay around there. Like, it's kind of the thing that everybody wants to come to Florida. They want to come see you on the beach. They don't want to be up there like, okay, it's 30 degrees out. It's April.
Yeah. So what you're telling me is you're gonna start sending me leads. And we're going to start closing businesses and doing arbitraging in your area.
Old guys are going to come down and start businesses. We're going to buy businesses at 80 years old.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much PE in the market right now. HVAC companies, plumbing companies, medical spas, dentists. I mean, every industry that you would have dozens of in your town, like not super niche, obviously, but PE's buying all of it. They're packaging it all together.
PE, for people that don't know, private equity.
Private equity. PE is private equity.
Private equity. Give a quick once over on that one, just so people.
Private equity is just a group of private investors who pull in money together and they buy businesses with an exit plan, usually. Or they can sell it to institutional money or big, like, publicly traded companies. Sometimes they exit, sometimes they don't, but usually they niche within like certain industries. Yep. They're not the Johnson & Johnsons. They're like the middle tier between like small business, PE, and then like big corporate institutional.
So I got to ask you, if you if you had to buy a business type, what would you buy? Because you see this on a daily basis.
I do. I'm a little arrogant in that I do.
Strip club.
Get out of here, ladies. This is mine now.
Exactly.
No, I mean, I'm doing it with. I'm starting from scratch because there wasn't a comedy club here that I could buy. Yeah. So I am starting one from scratch. But if I had to buy an existing business, first of all, I don't really like I don't like people, so it wouldn't be customer service like hair salons. Okay. Absolutely fucking not. I'm not managing
you don't
30.
Like small talk.
No, I like straight to it. Like I don't want to pussyfoot around. I want to like tell me about your hemorrhoids. Like let's get to know each other. Let's get some dirt on each other. And I'm kidding.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
I gotta say on that topic. Yeah. Our conversation when I first called you, I got off the phone and I was like, because the way that I work and the way that I do my sales approach is basically I just try to match people.
Sure.
I had a therapist and I asked my therapist, I'm like, how do you do what you do? And I basically took a lot of those tactics, brought them to sales. Yeah. And when I got on the phone with you, you're like Tony Robbins on steroids. Oh. Like. I was looking at this and I'm just like, damn, okay. And I'm like standing on the balcony, like, should I jump? I'm just kidding. No. But I got off the phone and I called her buddy and I'm like Trey, I'm like, you didn't tell me this gal was intense. I said, damn. I said, she's like off to the races. I said, I feel like a small fry. And he's like, nah, he's like, she's cool. Yeah. But it was, I look at it, where do you get your motivation from and everything? Like what gets you going? Because you're like, it's one thing to just be a hothead. Which I don't think you are.
No, I'm not an angry person.
No, exactly.
I'm ecstatic.
You're like 100, like from 1 to 10 of like not motivated to like motivated. You're like over here. How do you do that? Like what gets you up in the morning? What keeps you going?
What's the alternative?
I don't know. Hang out on the beach. Go. Find people to hang with.
That's it. Yeah. Okay. So that's a really good question. What is my motivator? Obviously, I want to create a very comfortable life for myself and my kids.
Yeah.
I didn't have a comfortable childhood, so you visited my home. We had to go pick up an SD card. I try to create like
a trailer.
I want a comfortable lifestyle. I don't want to die young and in pain. Money solves a lot of the problems that I had when I was younger. And I just look around and I see nobody willing to put in like the extra 10 hours a week to like, holy shit, it's such a small amount of extra effort. If you just show up every day and you're cool and you provide value, free or for charge, you will like hops and skips ahead of like all of your competitors. How do you not get fucking excited about that? I can do whatever the fuck I want to.
Yeah.
I can start any business I want to. I can talk to any person. Give me Joe Biden's phone number right now and I'll cold call him. What do you want me to sell him? Like, it's just everything's easy. There's nothing, like, I think it's like I grew up thinking everything was hard because life was so hard, and then I became an adult and I'm like, you can literally do whatever the fuck you want to all day, every day. And if it's a monetary thing where it's holding you back, put in a little extra work and like poof, your money problems are gone.
Yeah.
That's, how are you not excited about life? I don't know. That's how I wake up every day.
So what are your goals? What are you working towards?
Oh, I never would be finished with anything.
So how do you work? Because you're just going. What is there like checkpoints you're trying to hit?
No, the train's moving and I'm just picking shit up on the way. Sometimes we're going really fast and sometimes we're going slow. If I get an opportunity, like I'll cross paths with someone and like we become really good friends. Like I don't make friends outside of work anymore, but like the people I get to work with, like, you know what I mean? Like I just pick up people, like they're like my little pets. But I'll meet someone who's like, oh, I do this business venture. I have this skill set. You have these connections. Let's merge in the middle and create this. And I'm like, yeah, dude, let's do it. I'm not scared to try anything. So I'll pick up businesses along the way. And like at some point I just want a mailbox full of money, just a mailbox full of checks or a bank account. I guess ACH is a thing these days. That's kind of like an old thing. But
no drug dealer carrying the money in a duffel bag.
I mean, you know what? I have one tenant who is a drug dealer and he pays me in cash and I'm not upset about it. It's a nice write-off. Yeah. Don't add that one to the podcast. But no, I mean, I'd love to travel the country and do comedy. Comics don't get paid any fucking money until they're like 20 years into the industry and they're getting paid. It's really hard to make money in comedy. Why? Because you've got a million people who have a 10-minute set and they'll do that 10-minute set for $100, where that entertainment used to actually cost money. And now there's a million people who do it there's a million marketing companies who will do it for $100 a month. And you're like, this should be $1,500 and here's why, because it's done correctly. So I want to open a bunch of businesses that do really well, and I want to fail at half of them and figure out why they didn't work and start over from scratch and then have income so I can go tell dick jokes.
So how'd you get into the comedy kick? Because you're a comedian.
Yeah, I'm a comedian.
Yeah.
I've been obsessed with it for a really long time, and there was a bunch of local shows, and honestly, I was like, I can do that. That doesn't look that hard. And then it took me a year to go to the balls to get on stage.
So what happened?
It took me a year.
Yeah, but when you got on stage.
It was
so, like walk me through that night.
Oh, sure. I went a couple of times and didn't do it. I pussied out, or I canceled, or like, I don't know if they're doing it tonight.
Good job.
And I had like a million excuses.
Yeah.
And then I went up and I did like my fucking 5-minute set, and it wasn't that bad, and I got a couple chuckles, and then what I realized is like you can't make open micers laugh because it wasn't a real audience. It's just open micers. They're sitting there nervous about their set. And it's just, again, brings you back to like, nobody gives a fuck about you and what you're doing.
There was no audience there. It was all just...
There might have been one or two, but like everybody's thinking about themselves 24/7. So what I realized is no one was thinking about me, and it wasn't nearly as scary as I thought it was going to be. And I did that for a little while, and then I started doing real audiences, and I was like, this is good shit.
So what was your first real audience like?
Good. Once you realize you can make people laugh, you're like, oh yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know what it is, but it's like the most excited you could ever get. And then really quickly, I ate dog shit in front of probably 100 people. It was so, I couldn't even get the mic out of the mic stand. The stage was so far away from all of the audience members, you almost like couldn't see them. They were like in the shadows. Usually at a good comedy show.
Okay.
They're on the stage. You can touch them. They're stuff.
You
can interact. You can't see the reactions. You're just talking at a beam of light that's blinding you and hoping that it's funny.
Ouch.
And I had fumbled at that microphone thing. And I was trying to like make jokes as I was doing it. I was like trying to like keep it light, but I fumbled. I left that, and I felt like I was like, ugh, I felt violated by like my own poor show. And you have to do that.
How'd you recover? Or was that whole set just
No, I got them giggling or whatever, but like it wasn't like a knockout of the park. And the guy so I wasn't even on that show that night. I showed up as just a guest to stand in the back to like watch it.
Yeah.
And this nice established comedian was like, "You want to go up and do 5?" He tried to throw me a bone, and I was like, and the other guy's like, "Yeah, she's kind of new." And he's like, "No, go do 5." And the other guy's like, "She's kind of new." He's like, no, go up and do 5. And I was like, okay. It was not it. It was too early. But like the more chances you take like that, the more you realize where your own. It's like not being able to throw a ball far enough. Keep throwing the fucking ball and it'll go farther. I did a black club a week ago. My first urban room.
Okay.
I was the only white lady. They thought I was the health department. They lost their fucking mind. Like, the staff and, like, the ownership was there, and they were getting stoned. Like, they sent someone up to come ask me if I was the health department. And I'm like...
Did they know you were coming?
They did... No. They just... They saw this white lady walk in, and they're like, what the fuck is going on? They didn't know I was a comedian. And I was just at the bar, like, writing in my notebooks, and I was like, well, these jokes aren't going to work here. And I was, like, trying to, like... I was like, this is a dark room. No, it wasn't. It was very, like, Latin, like, mixed. Yeah. But what's interesting is that culture they don't think dog jokes are funny because they don't really have dogs. A masturbation joke didn't do that well. Gosh, there's another one that fucking bombed. But, like... it's all about, like, culture of the room. Mm-hmm. I do great with rednecks because I was raised redneck.
Redneck jokes are always the best. When you're sitting around a campfire, you're cracking jokes.
Yeah.
Like I knew somebody that knew Larry the Cable Guy, and they said he was real quiet.
Sure. Yeah,
but they said once you got him going, they said we were just balled up.
Yeah.
Like the funniest guy I ever heard was this dude from Kentucky.
Yeah.
He was a sales guy, and he just went on he'd go on these kicks. We were balled up in our chairs.
We'd keep laughing or tagging and tagging.
Well, yeah, because he'd take it one step further. Like you'd say one thing that he'd go further than. At a certain point, you're just sitting there like
peeing your pants.
Exactly. Like, how did we go from bikes to whatever XYZ?
I can imagine. Those are the best conversations.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that organic kind of like. But there's something innate in people. I've never met a comedian who didn't have a super traumatic childhood. There's something in them that like gets something from the laughter. It's an affirmation that like it's filling that love bucket that like you didn't get when you were a kid. It's fascinating. Like 9 out of 10.
I was going to bring that up after the podcast.
Yeah.
I guess we could talk about it now.
I mean, it's the reality of it. And most people think that comedians are like these flamboyant personalities. And like, I'm the exception. This is just who I am all day, every day, just a loudmouth bitch. But most of them are very introverted, very quiet, don't like eye contact, and they go up and they do an act. And it's a really good act. And then off stage, they're not that person.
Mm-hmm. It's like because they had to seek affection. A lot of times it's from what you see, because you're 100% right.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion, from what I see, because they have broken childhoods, they try to seek affection from parents, they've divorced, things like that. And some of the funniest people you see are just they're trying to connect with people and trying to make sure that people don't leave.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, and that's a lot of them are they have drug addictions and this and that. And they're in and out of relationships. I mean, I think the top 1% right now is a good example of like the top 1% of any industry, but like just beneath them, I mean, it is a disaster.
Yeah.
These guys don't have driver's license. They've got terrible criminal history. They're line cooks. I mean, it's just a slew of like different people, and they're all like, "Someone love me, please."
Yeah.
And then when you make a room laugh, oh, that's 1,000 dad hugs. It's so good.
Like 1,000 dad hugs. I love it.
It gives you something. I don't know how to explain it. And then when you bomb, you're like, oh, he punched me in the face again, but 1,000 times.
So how did you get into opening up a comedy club? I mean, I know why you did it, but like, what was the process?
Oh, I think I was just gabbing with a local person who owns the building, and he was bitching to me about it not having the income that he wanted, and I was like, yeah, most places aren't right now. Like restaurant industry is struggling, and I was like, well, maybe I can host a show there, and he was like, maybe you can just host shows here. He's like, it's yours, have it. Won't charge you, just make it whatever. Once it gets up and drumming, like we'll really invest and lean into it. But like just take it, run with it. I'll make it easy for you. I'm paying for it anyways.
Yeah.
And he's been a really good friend of mine. I met him at church like 15, 16 years ago.
So, okay, so you're starting the comedy club. He tells you that you can do it. Where does it go from there? So you're doing the grand opening this week.
Mm-hmm. Grand openings this week.
Okay.
I done a couple shows locally in that setting. I like really thrive in, so I know who my demographic is. I know who to sell the tickets to.
Yeah.
I've got the room. I've got the setup. I've got a phenomenal partner who's doing all the bookings. He's been in the industry for a really long time, so he knows all the headliners. So I don't have to go and figure out that side of the industry just yet, where I have to go hand pick the people who will drive to Melbourne, Florida, and do a show for $300, $400, $500, $600.
Yeah.
So thankfully, I've got so many people like supporting it. Because everyone knows that we need it. And the open micers here, they hate me.
Why is that? Because you were telling me about that earlier.
I think I came in like a wrecking ball. That's who that's just my personality.
Yeah.
And I think I think my personality is just a lot for most groups of people.
Yeah.
Realtors fucking hate me too. Because I don't know how to. I want an elevated experience in what I'm doing. And I never want to from a consumer's perspective, I never want the consumer to feel like it was half-assed, it wasn't thoughtful. So I look at everything from like, how is their experience? And I looked at some of the shows and I was like, this could be better.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't getting better. And I'm like, well, I don't want to sell tickets to this room or to this show or have them drive to Orlando because it's not the experience that I want them to experience. It's not what I want. It's not the comedy seller.
Yeah.
It's not that like there's a textile to it. So I was like, well, I'll just create it out of thin air. Fast forward 8 weeks, we're about to open.
Damn.
Yeah.
Quick turnaround.
Well, what am I gonna do? Take 8 months to do it? It's the same amount of steps.
Crazy. Yeah. The only thing is we got to get a different audio system in there.
Okay. Well, nobody here locally knows what they're doing.
That's true.
I'm in a very small town. No one here. I mean, I'm suppose there are people, right?
That's
sure.
Don't get me wrong. That's most cities across.
Okay.
Because that was one of the things at Sweetwater. All those guys. I'll say it. So a lot of those guys, the installers that would come and take and do a lot of those projects, call us asking us the questions. And nothing against them. I mean, when I was working there, I was a resource for them. So it's like, okay, call me because you're gonna buy the stuff from me. But at the same time, it's like, nobody knows what the hell they're doing. Like I run events for different AV projects and things. And I go into these rooms and they're like, yeah, we just renovated for $4 million. And I look at this whole system and I'm like,
got it.
You guys got absolutely screwed.
Yeah.
Bent over and just like, it was bad.
I mean, they're gonna write it off anyways.
Exactly.
So
it's better than paying that than Uncle Sam. So
that's the reality.
True.
It is.
Man, so okay, I gotta jump back for a second.
Yeah.
So as far as the branding aspect, I think it's really smart what you did with realtors as far as yourself and kind of being blunt. Because when it comes to the reason I don't like dealing with bankers, financial planners, insurance agents, or realtors, is because they're very reserved. Every word they say is meticulously crafted, and you're like, here's what I think. You don't like it, you like it. That I actually respect. I think it's cool.
I'm gonna say something unpopular right now. It's a little Trumpish.
Yeah.
It's a little Trumpish in that, like, I don't care if it offends you, but you can trust that I'm saying exactly what I think and I believe. And like, I'm not posturing you in any one direction and trying to fool you. It just is what it is. Not that I'm Trumpish, but the way that I speak, I'm like, I don't care. If you don't like my services, go to the next guy who's gonna sell you dog shit. Or you can trust me to be mouthy about it and lead you in the right direction, which I'm finding the men in my industry. I mentioned 97% of commercial real estate is owned by men. The 3% that's owned by women is widows, partnerships, their husbands, and then physicians. Lots of like women doctors will own their building. Yeah, it's very, very finite. There's so few, and they all meet every year, and I know who all of them are, and it's the rest of them are just men. Do the men want to work with the other men who just want to cash a check, or do they want to work with like a young spicy thing who's going to be like, you shouldn't fucking buy that property. Here's why. And they're like, thanks. That's easy to hate.
How long did it take you to figure that out?
I think it was like 28. 28, where I was just like people really want me to say what I'm thinking, not what I think they want to hear.
Yeah.
I think I learned that from Gary Vaynerchuk. He's like, if you don't like the F-bomb, I'm not for you. It has less to do with the F-bomb and more to, I will tell people, don't buy that. It's a $250,000 commission for me. I'll sell it to you if you really want it, but here's the reasons why I wouldn't buy it.
Yeah.
Let's try this instead. And when you're willing to compromise the monetization of a transaction, people will trust you.
Yeah.
Because they know you won't let them make a bad decision. Realtors will sell you fucking anything. Cash their check and then block your phone number. No offense.
No.
There's some great ones that I love. Know, love, trust. If I ever buy a house, that's who I'll use.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of people who got their real estate license because they have a GED and a 2-digit IQ, and they're like, all right, let's go fucking make money. Not let's go protect the person as they make the biggest investment they may ever make in their entire life. It's two types. Every industry, there's the value givers and then there's the value takers.
Oh yeah, and what's awesome is I'm at the point where I get to see people out of high school, where it's like, where'd you go, what'd you do, and oh, you're getting out of college with this 4-year degree.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna go be a realtor.
Wow, you can be a realtor at 18.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I think. I mean, when there's opportunities like that, why the hell go to college? I mean, why go get some big doctored up degree? Like, if really you're gonna go be a doctor, I mean, think about it. What kind of job is that? It's glorified factory work, in my opinion. If you're watching this and you're a doctor, that's my opinion. I'm more than happy to talk to you about it. But at the end of the day, I mean, you can go get a real estate license. You can go get an insurance license. We were talking about it. There's places that'll give you a book of business that will give you the leads as a realtor, and it's like they can't find people.
Yeah.
Do you think it's what do you make of this next generation? Because I mean, those are the people. Like a lot of the people are selling the businesses. A lot of the people they're trying to downsize their books because they want to spend more time on the beach. They want to spend more time in your neck of the woods. What do you think about the younger generations?
I mean,
The millennials and the Gen Zs.
I'm not seeing the Gen Zs in it yet. I'm seeing the millennials, but millennials they were raised on trends. I think every generation is, and I'm just more mindful of it because I'm a millennial. But like every millennial I know just bought a fucking Airbnb over the last couple of years. Guess what? We're in an Airbnb bust. We're in a fucking bubble. It's catastrophic, and they all thought they were entrepreneurs and business owners, and they follow these like trends. Yeah. So it's what's trending. It's not what's hard and takes a decade. I'd argue that in most industries, it takes 10 years before you're going to make real money. Real money.
You think so?
There's the people in the SaaS and the tech industry, and maybe they've found this niche on the internet. But like for the most part, for the 99% of people, it's going to take 5 to 10 years before you're making like really decent money. I'm talking like $500,000 plus per year, which is 1% of the entire like country, right? Yeah. That is the 1%. And if that's the kind of lifestyle, I think it's the average Gen Z or millennial says that you need to make 400 plus to have like a comfortable lifestyle because of inflation or whatever. Like I can't even imagine what houses cost right now. I don't know. I don't keep up on that. I can't move mine. I can sell it high, but I can't. I mean, then I have to buy high. That's fascinating. So I'm not seeing the wave of Gen Zs come because they're all behind the screen a little bit. They're all on YouTube. They all have tech. They're all monetizing the OnlyFans and the TikToks and the Instagram. It's crazy. Which it is crazy. And I'm like, fuck it, do it. Make as much money as you can.
At the end of the day, it makes more. I mean, because we talked about this a little bit before. Yeah. With OnlyFans, I think it's a simple way out for a lot of people because. Or a lot of women, I should say, because there's not as much men on OnlyFans. Like, if you're into that stuff, I mean, for it. But I mean, you look at it. Yeah. Would you make $20 an hour used to go a long way. You
not anymore.
So? No, not anymore. But like, it used to. I mean, you go get a job for $20 an hour.
That's a great wage.
Spending money. For college at that point. Maybe.
You can't even afford an apartment anymore. No, $20 an hour.
No. You're like barely scraping by. You might be able to go play laser tag on a weekend a month.
Who plays laser tag?
Oh, come on. You haven't played laser tag?
I mean, what?
You suck.
No, I have real guns.
There you go.
Okay, so if I was a Gen Z right now, I'd look at all of my peers, and they're all looking at tech, whatever version of tech, whether or not they're monetizing platforms, or if they're creating content, or if they're, I don't know, right? It's all behind a screen or a computer. I would zoom out and go, okay, well, there's one of the largest demographics in history who are hidden behind a screen. Look up and look around. Who are the person not behind the screen every day? Every home service, every roofer, every HVAC, every plumber, every electrician, all of that has to fucking continue. Robots aren't building homes. Robots aren't building roads. Robots aren't building vehicles. Robots aren't building the actual, well, they might be building computers and they might be building cars.
Maybe.
But if you look up and you look around, robots aren't going to court on your behalf. Like, so I would say, like, if all of your peers are staring into a screen, look up and figure out what other, I'm seeing people make insane money with an HVAC company. They don't have to know how to operate and
there's more work out there. Like I know I approach a lot of these guys and I'm like, hey, we should do a website or something. But the biggest thing is they don't want it because they've got so much word of mouth coming to them. They don't want more.
Word of mouth is crazy.
Well, big time, because you can't find anybody. You go call an electrician.
Yeah.
And one of the things I think people don't realize is when it comes to the trades, I mean, there's certain trades that are a little bit dirtier than others. But if you go be an electrician or something, a lot of the work is not hard stuff. It's not something you're getting all dirty with.
No.
It's literally you're just putting some wire inside a wall. Or in some cases, you're basically just replacing a light switch.
True.
And charging $200 for it.
Yeah. It's the, if you're the type of person who likes to tinker with apps or a code or whatever, it's a comparable skill set for like wiring or mathematics or like voltage or like, it's just, there's using your hands and then there's using like the mouse.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the biggest partide in like the employment is the people who are willing to literally work on like the physical things and then everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be really different. And I think it's like, is the middle of the country more willing to like get down and dirty? I mean, I am. I'm the janitor at my company. I have 14 employees and I fucking clean the toilet myself. Like I don't outsource that. So like I'm the type of person like I'll scrub the floors. Is everyone like that? I don't know.
I don't think most people they want a label. And when they look at their like the owner or the CEO of a company, they don't think they have to do that.
Who else is gonna do it?
That's the thing. It's like you're gonna hire somebody just to do that. I was on a date with
a waste of money.
And she tried telling me, she's like, yeah, I want to hire somebody just to clean the house. I'm like, I could see that. Like, okay, you want to hire someone to clean the house every couple months or so?
Yeah.
She's like, well, I'd want it like done like a couple times a week.
A couple times a week?
Like to do the toilets and things. I'm like, this ain't gonna work out.
Yeah.
I jump in there and do it like you would.
Takes 2 seconds.
Exactly. It's just taking the initiative.
Yeah.
And I think that shows much more to a lot of people than just saying, hey, I'm going to take and build a software or something. Because I think what you were saying with the tech stuff, and then you've also got the people, I should say more like computer-oriented stuff, the technology. Then you've got the guys that want to use their hands.
Yeah.
I think the people in the middle that we were talking about earlier, the salespeople with the gift of gab.
Well, that...
You have the world made for you.
Yes.
If you can talk to people, carry a good conversation, I could name off 5 different opportunities. If you've got the gift of gab, get in touch with me.
100%.
Get you a job anywhere across the country.
I'll fucking give you a job.
Yeah, exactly.
If you can talk to people, oh my God, that's all you have to do. Call people back within an hour.
Yep.
Holy shit, because they want to hire you and give you their money.
Yep.
It's crazy, but you gotta be able to like pick up the phone and like be a human.
And people don't do that anymore, which I think totally tears it apart because you have Snapchat and everything else. But I don't get is people are sending streaks. You know what streaks are, right?
Streak is like you've done a snap for a while.
So basically, a streak is like you take a picture, and then they take a picture, and you take a picture, and they take a picture.
Okay.
And you do that back and forth.
Oh, they're all doing it.
Yeah.
All the teenagers.
Exactly.
And like, I missed my streak.
Yeah, I was like just after that. So like, my parents didn't give me a phone when everyone else had a phone.
Yeah.
And I look at my youngest brother, and he's like, had a streak going for like 1,000 days or something.
Holy shit.
And I'm like, so how are they doing? I don't really talk to them.
It's just a picture of their foot. I've seen it. It's a picture of nothing.
Exactly, and they're not keeping in touch because they don't know what the hell's going on with the person. I think the biggest thing is if people could get off their phones, go and just try to talk with people. Because my brother hit that wall. Very successful business owner. He's making great money.
Yeah.
But his biggest issue was, I'm not going to say which brother it was, but he ended up, he couldn't talk to people because he was shy and he always just And he came over to me. He's like, Tony's like, how do you go into things? Because I went to a networking group with him, and everybody loved me because I went and I was cracking jokes and talking about how I shot for this thing that I'll tell you about off camera. And I went in there and I was a powerhouse, and I got in 3 gigs out of it. And he's like,
how'd you do that?
Exactly. It's like, well, just try this, try that, try that. And now he's working and he's getting up to that point, but it's taken him, I'd say, 1.5 years.
Yeah.
And he's still.
What's he scared of?
I think it's just it's a muscle that's never been used. Because like you're texting people, you don't want to pick up the phone, and now it's like there's so much you don't get from a text message. Like when you're on a phone, you can tell if the person's smiling.
100%.
If they like what you're saying, if they don't.
Yep. I can diffuse anything on the phone. I can apologize for anything.
I'm gonna create a problem next week. I'm gonna call you.
Oh my God, I'm so that is like I thrive on fixing I've had someone mad at, people get mad.
So what's the biggest thing you've had to fix on the phone? Is there like something that you're like, I just moved a mountain? Like you got
Oh, I mean that's what my job is. My job is solving issues that have fucking 8 zeros behind them. But no, I had this customer who had a son. And the customer owns a ton of assets, and he's like, "Hey, can you help my son and his girlfriend? His girlfriend. He didn't say girlfriend. I say girlfriend. Can you help them find a place to relocate?"
Yeah.
Busting my ass to do it. They submitted an application. I followed up, did my job, and then the broker on the other side ended up leasing it out from underneath them and like completely dicked me around and fucked me over on it, which is just like he wanted the double-sided. He wanted both sides of the commission. He didn't want to split it with me.
Yeah.
We never even had that conversation. Like I didn't even care to get paid on it. It was like whatever. It wasn't about the money. It was about the dad relationship.
Yeah.
Well, the girlfriend went back to dad and was like, she didn't do it, and threw an absolute fit and was like, I didn't represent them well and he should fire me, and like just made like, I love this customer. We've got along really well, and he came at me and he was like really upset at me. And I talked him off the ledge as well as I could over the phone, and then he called me to meet in person. And it's just like I was going in for a spanking. Like I was so scared. I was like, he's about to fire me, and I care, and I actually didn't do anything wrong, and I didn't want to defend myself too much. But like, he sat with me, and he was just like, listen, I know your character. He's like, I don't think you did anything wrong. I think that other guy was just a dick. But moving forward, like, just communicate. And I was like, yeah. But if I hadn't picked up the phone and like begged and pleaded and like fought my case and be like, I'll fight for you. If I had just texted, because she was being so brutal, he would have fired me if I hadn't come and said like, let's talk. Okay, let's meet. Okay, let's hash it out. Still my customer today. Over that whole time frame, I'm like, I had to go way beyond my comfort zone. Nobody wants to fight in person.
Yeah.
Do you want to fight in person?
Let's do it.
Yuck. I'm really good at it.
It doesn't surprise me.
Because I'll just concede and apologize. I'm passive resistant.
Huh.
You know what that is?
No.
Tell me to go do something.
Go clean the toilet.
Okay, yeah, I'll take care of that in a minute. I'll never do it.
Oh, you're one of those.
Oh, yeah. When I want to be, when I need to be, but I am fine to just like to keep everything calm. So,
okay.
And I can tell when other people are the same way.
I'm not that way.
No.
No.
You'll just say no?
Okay, I struggle with this sometimes because when I got burnt out at my job, I went from I'll say anything and maneuver it whatever way I need to get it done.
Yeah.
And then always, of course, having morality to make sure I'm doing the right thing.
Got it.
But then I got to a point where it's like, you know what? Screw you. I'm not doing this. And I don't know. I've been reeling back from that one. So I'll get to some points with people I'm just like, this ain't working.
Oh, sure. Yeah, getting to a place where you can fire people is great.
Isn't that a great feeling? When you can fire your first client? And the thing is, you're not firing them because they're a great client. You're firing them because there's so many problems, and chances are they've had problems with other people before you.
And you're about to have a much bigger problem on your hands, like bad reviews and things. You ever try to fire somebody and then they just completely renege and fix their bad character traits?
Yeah.
You're like, God, just leave.
I just tell them to leave.
Oh, God. I had someone who's just like, I'll never do it again. And I was like, fuck, okay. He's still with me.
No.
Never did it again.
The other thing that gets me was I heard a guy talking again about my brother because if they were in my world, they'd be gone.
Sure.
With him, I heard them saying, oh, yeah, if it wasn't for me, they wouldn't have a business.
Oh, you're freaking out.
I heard exactly. If I ever,
I love that for you so much.
Yes.
Elsewhere. Yeah.
It's just one of those things. It's like it just gets you. So how do? Okay, I gotta ask.
Yeah.
How do you take and talk people off the ledge?
Yeah.
Because you do the passive resistant thing.
A little bit, yeah.
What's your approach?
Why are people on the ledge? What ledge? I don't know that I deal with a lot of ledges.
Or let's say somebody's pissed at you. It's your fault. Quotations.
Very rare.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That they're pissed at you.
Yes.
So how do you deal with problems when they come at you?
I'm never the problem.
Okay.
There's a file. There's an issue with the file. There's an issue with the dirt. There's an issue with the tenant.
Yeah.
I'm rarely ever the problem. I'm only ever the problem when I create the problem. Like when I go on social media and run my mouth. I've done it a couple times over the last couple of years, and I'm like, why everything I say on the internet just comes back at me. Too many to tell on here, and those people don't want me to continue those stories on video, on social media. But fuck, dude, every time I get on social media and I talk about this wild thing I heard Saul or was a part of, it comes back and it bites me in the ass. And in those circumstances, it's like, yeah, I fucked up. I said what I said. I thought it was funny, and I talked about it. But now I do it with a microphone, and it's appropriate.
Just kind of like that outlook, you just go.
Yeah. Like I can say it on stage, and it's just a joke. But when you say it on social media and it goes viral, and everybody knows about that thing that happened at your wedding, it's just like nobody's stoked about that. Those are I've burned some bridges. It's never business related when people are angry at me. It's always personal. It's always because I was a fucking idiot, and all you can do is say sorry. Yeah. And you're like, I'm gonna try to not do it again. I might.
I mean, you can change everything, because I know that was one of the things that I got a master class in it, because at one of the businesses I worked at, they had people dedicated just to, when people called pissed off, you send them to them. Oh. So these people got bitched at all day long.
Oh, sure.
And they were actually chill people.
Yeah.
How you're chilling a job like that?
Yeah.
I'd be telling somebody to pound sand.
Yeah.
And it was just stupid things. Like, the people weren't calling about different things, but I asked them, I'm like, how do you guys do this?
Sure.
She just told me, she's like, the biggest trick, she's like, take the wind out of the sails. She goes, just tell them this. If I were in your shoes, I'd be just as pissed off as you are.
Sure.
And I tried it. I had this gal call me up. She's like, I can't believe this isn't here in time. This whole thing. Yeah. And she did it. It was technically her fault. It was technically somebody else's fault.
Sure.
It was not my fault. It was just everything that went wrong, everything that could go wrong.
Sure. Yes.
And she goes over and she's calling me. She's all mad. I said, if I was in your shoes, I'd be just as pissed off as you are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She couldn't say anything.
That's what she wanted to hear.
Exactly. And you give them the satisfaction.
They did what? Mm-hmm. Oh my God, that's insane. Hold on a second. Hold on. Wait. If you're just like, they fucking said what? Are you serious right now? I'm going to call you on another line.
Exactly.
If you're as angry as they are, like, now they feel like you're an advocate. True. Now you're fighting with them on their behalf.
It's kind of like Chris Voss. Are you familiar?
I'm obsessed.
Oh, we're going to get along. Okay, I love when he goes over and he talks about the you're right versus that's right. Like the analogy he uses, and for people that don't know, you know, when you walk into your boss's office and you're like, you know what, I've been working here for 10 years. Yeah. I haven't gotten a raise. I haven't gotten a promotion. Yeah. And the boss just says, you know what, you're right. You've been working here 10 years. You haven't gotten a raise. You haven't gotten a promotion. You walk out of that room, your chest held high. Yeah. Did you walk out with a raise? No. Did you get a promotion? Hell no.
You're validated.
Exactly. You're validated.
Yeah. Dude, okay, so I use so many of Chris Voss's almost every day of my life, and I didn't know that I was doing it until I heard him say it. Okay. But I will walk up to any hostess, any service, any hospitality, any fucking rental car, you name it, and I'm like, can I be the biggest Karen right now? Would it be okay if I had like an extra seat instead of the 4? Can we do a 6 top? And they're just like, yeah, okay. And I get whatever I want wherever I go, because I always preface it like it's going to be this crazy thing. Yeah. And it never is. And people will literally give, I've been upgraded at every hotel, in our car. You know, at hotels, we go up and I'm like, oh, God, I don't know how you do this all day. Does everybody talk to you guys like that? Dude, I was in and like give them the thing and then give them a tip at the same time. You're upgraded 10 out of 10 times. Yeah. Like, they just want to feel, like, appreciated, like, human-to-human connection. Exactly. Tell waitresses and waiters, dude, you're so good at your job. Like, I don't know how you, like, you're really good at it. Yeah. People just want to feel like a human being instead of, like a robot. Yeah. Why do we treat humans like robots? Do your job.
I think people have this perception. I think a lot of it's Hollywood and TV.
Oh,
Personally.
sure. You're a bag of meat. You have emotions and humans, and your dog maybe died that day. Just because you scruffed at me doesn't mean I'm like, you're allowed to do that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we should show everybody more grace.
Oh, I agree. And I think at the end of the day, everybody just wants one thing, and that's love. And that doesn't mean they want you to jump up on the table and start making out. That just means that everybody wants that good fuzzy feeling on the inside. Like they're validated, like they're... Because, that's all you did. You said, you know what? It seems like you've got a hell of a job here today.
Yeah.
That person, you just basically said, I feel you.
Yeah.
And that person, that's all they wanted to hear because they're expecting somebody to walk up to them, like the 5 other people earlier that day, that just says, you know what? My steak was over-seasoned.
Yeah.
And you walk up to them and you say, you're being put through the ringer right now.
Yeah.
They're like, you get it.
Dude, all day, every day, you got to work with these people.
Yeah.
Because there's this bond. So we talked off camera about vasopressin. Mm-hmm. And so you don't know what it is.
No.
So it's a hormone. It's a bonding hormone. Women have it with children. It's oxytocin, right? So when you cuddle the baby, it's an oxytocin share, like breastfeeding and stuff. And then you also can have that with a partner, right? Mm-hmm. That's why when you're new in a relationship, that lusty period is all oxytocin. You're getting high off of your hormone chemicals. Okay. And that's why you're like mania, right? And it's just like the best thing. And then that fades. Oxytocin fades. You become a little like tolerant. Mm-hmm. The hormones stop hormoning. And then you either decide you actually did like each other or you didn't. But men have this thing where when they work on a project together, men, or rarely women, but mostly men, like if you guys go build something, you fix something, you go on a trip together, you guys have this weird hormonal bond. You're fucking brothers forever. You beat the shit out of each other, but like you got through the fight together. And that's a hormone called vasopressin. And it's this, men have it. I've learned how to do it in my industry where like I'll go golfing with men. I'll help them solve their like math problems on their asset, or like even like bonding over like certain like hobbies and stuff. Like because men aren't going to bond over oxytocin if they're not having sex with you. Mm-hmm. But and women often are the same thing. Yeah. There's the serotonin that plays into it, the happiness. But vasopressin is like a bonding hormone for like accomplishing things together. And it's so interesting how little people actually like lean into that. Now, don't do it like...
How do you lean into it?
You find what the other person likes.
Or as a woman.
You find what the other person likes, and like you're just like, let me show interest, and not like a fake interest. Like I'll probe people until you're wearing such an ornate watch. When you walked into my office, I was like, what's on your wrist? And by the way that you answered, I knew you liked watches, and I was like, we're gonna fucking talk about watches. But I could have done that about your camera equipment, about your shoes, about like your trip. I could have found, your wife, your girlfriend, whatever. You find something to bond with the human over, and you know what? You're gonna keep coming back because we clicked. You know what that click is? Vasopressin.
So she drugged me when I walked in.
My bad, I'm sorry. And you know what? I want someone to fucking do it to me. Nobody tries to sell me anything. Nobody tries to trick me. If I get a cold call and someone says my name more than once, I'm like, fucking, ugh.
Yeah.
Well, Cassandra, because the sweetest sound to a human is their own name.
Really?
It's a sales tactic. That's why when you get a sales call, they say your name over and over again.
I just say man or brother.
What up, man? Yeah. What up, brother? I'm not your buddy, guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever that is. So that's not a sales tactic. It's like a human bond.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Because I know I typically bring up somebody's name in a sales conversation if I want to bring them back to something I'm going to say.
Don't.
Really?
Stop it.
Really?
It's a poor sales trick.
The thing is, I don't use it like... I only bring it up if I'm going to say something that I need you to hear.
Don't do it.
What do you recommend in its place?
Dude,
bro.
Guy, listen. Okay. All right. Vibe with me.
Okay.
Just don't use my name, because I know you've read that in 3 or 4 books, and it's this like you're trying to no. If you're trying to sell to a salesman, don't say their fucking name. They know it. They see right through it.
I use it to bring up problems. Really? You'd rather just... You think it's better to bring it up as a friend?
Yeah.
I try to bring it up as the most dire thing than pull it around to a solution.
Ooh, you say my name, I'm throwing up. I'm checked out. Get me off this... I'm going to hang up on you. I will not rush off a call faster than if someone says my name.
Interesting.
in that there's a, hey, is this Cassandra? Yeah. That's it. If you say my name again during that call without being like, how do you spell Cassandra? Yeah. If you're like, well, Cassandra, and I'm like, and this is discussed, you know, you either get that or you don't get it. I don't know.
I agree.
You don't agree?
I disagree.
I think we need to take a poll.
We should.
Oof.
We should take a poll because I agree because I think there's a lot of times when people will call you, they'll be like, hey, Cassandra, you know, this is great, but you know, Cassandra.
Ugh.
As soon as you use it like that, I'm like, hey man, I'm calling for Toby. Okay, hey Toby. Yeah, so hey man, we're going into the conversation. But then if it's like, if I gotta call them out on a problem and I want them to hear it, at that point I always use the name.
I'm done.
Thing is, I use the name because I want you to listen. I want you on your toes.
I'm so checked out.
Damn.
I've chosen to stop listening. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, you're not on the receiving end. You're giving.
Yeah.
That's like saying you're great in bed, and the women are like, stop. Please stop doing that.
Oh my God. That's the best example.
I'm just saying.
No, but I agree though, because I think a lot of it comes down to you got to make it personal. Back to what you were saying all the time before is a lot of people, they should be using bro, brother, man, dude way more often.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, but you got to read the room because like I know I was going to meet with a small town about doing a website. I went over, I typically wear a really nice shirt, a really nice blazer sport coat.
Sure.
Because that's what I like wearing. And I wear good jeans.
Yeah.
I wear a belt and I wear a nice fancy watch.
Sure.
Walking into this place, I took my watch off, took my sport coat off, and I grabbed my shirt and I tucked it in.
Yep.
Because that way, me walking in there, they respected me, they loved me. If I would have walked in there looking like this big
city boy,
they would have been like, okay, let's put this son of a bitch through the ringer.
Yes.
But
well, it's you understand it's you have a high EQ. You understand how this room is going to perceive you, and you're meeting them where they're at.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who don't. And that saying the name on the phone thing is the equivalent of the city boy walking into a room and not understanding how he's being received. No offense.
I don't know. I'll have to think on that one because
I've never been hung up on a cold call. Ever.
Really?
Ever. They've never needed to. It doesn't feel like a cold call. My cold calls.
Oh, your cold calls. I'm thinking somebody's calling you. I'm like,
no.
Kind of person to hang up pretty quick.
Oh yeah, I'd be like, hey man, I'm not trying to be rude, but I gotta go.
Yeah.
Okay, like, okay, love you, bye. Like, I'll say, okay, love you, bye, often, because I'm just like, I don't want to be like, I'm not trying to be rude, but like, this is a waste of my time. You interrupted like what I was doing. Okay, love you, bye. Like, just move on. I'm not worth your time. Go to the next phone call.
So okay, what's the secret to your cold calls?
Damsel in distress. I will call and be like, yeah, hey, it's John? Yeah, it's John. Okay, you got a second? I'm chasing a rabbit down a hole right now. You got like 2 seconds? Okay, cool. Because I found it, and I'll just buzz through it, and I'll act like a confused person. Because I don't fucking know if this is actually John's phone number in the first place. So it kind of buffers it. Like, yeah, what's going on? The moment I humanize myself, and I'm like, you got a second? They go, yeah, I got a second. But this whole, like, do you have 30 seconds for me to pitch you this pitch and the God.
Oh, doesn't that just kill you?
I go, hey, you got a second? Once I realize they are who they are, and I'm like, I'm chasing this rabbit down a hole. Someone gave me your information, and they said blah, blah, blah. I was like, is that the case, or should I just, like, tell them, like, they were dum-dums? And like, no. I was like, all right, cool. I'm so glad I called the right person.
Yeah.
And I literally call, like, I'm literally fucking calling my neighbor for, like, sugar.
Yeah.
And everybody receives it really well. I've never had anybody be like, ugh, stop calling me. Because I'm not that, whatever that is. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What's funny is rarely does anybody cold call me. So rare. I never get pitched because I'd school them. I'd be like, listen, all right, stop saying my name so many fucking times. Second, listen, your whole pitch is backwards. You haven't asked me once about me. How do you know even what I need before you force this on me? Why do you think that this would be good for me? You don't know anything about me or my industry.
The opposite.
Yeah.
Take the cold call.
Really?
Reason being is like, okay, I know one more person now that might be able to help me out with something. Because I look at it like this. That person's calling me if they're using all the bad tactics. They're just starting out there. They want to cut their teeth. So if I need something in that realm, I'm going to reach out to them.
Sure.
Throw them a bone.
Sure.
Which, that's for me because I worked in phone sales for how many years? So for me, it's like, because people used to look at me because I used to hop on the phone as much as you hate certain tactics. I used to take and I used to humanize the people.
Sure.
Because that was the biggest thing that I thought, best thing I think, in my opinion, that you said is the humanization. Because when you hop on the phone with somebody or if you're meeting with them in person, there's this one guy that's talking, and he'll go like this and that. Nobody goes like that. They want to. Everybody swears. I mean, you got to be careful of who you're swearing with.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a young guy, don't swear with old people.
No.
I'd say people 50 on up, not so older people. But then a lot of it's just coming down to having a conversation, being like, you know what? We're going to talk about fishing.
Yeah.
You like fishing? We're going to talk about fishing.
Sure.
Because like you said, talking about those hobbies, I feel instantly comfortable when I walked in. You did that.
Yeah.
Like even though it's something I could see what you're doing, I'm like,
I literally thought it was a Grand Seiko, and I was like, "What's on your wrist?"
I was looking at this, and I'm like, she's talking watches. I'm like, I feel like this is a trick, but I don't care. I like it.
No, it wasn't a trick. We're gonna be in the same room together for 4 hours. I may as well be like, "What the fuck do you like? What are you wearing?" Because you would wear an Apple Watch if you weren't a watch guy. You know, a spy kid.
Ouch.
Yeah.
It's like swearing at me. I'm shedding a tear right now.
No. I'm saying, like, you're either wearing.
No, I'm messing with you.
An ornate. That's not a Nixon or a Movado. It's something different. And I like to, you know, I like to pick up on those things.
I thought that was awesome because it's. I mean, we instantly like bonded. I think like that, but I think that's one thing. A lot of people, you got to take and connect on the hobbies, because before you even start talking business, because typically when somebody's walking in or they're approaching you or anything like that. Yeah, it's a big deal for them. I mean, no matter if it's $100,000 transaction, which probably it ain't. Yeah. But if it's a multi-million-dollar deal, they're just about as nervous as you are. Yeah.
I had someone pitch me a product a couple of weeks ago, and he came in and just read off of a script and a presentation and talked at me for a little while. Didn't have price, and then so I had to pull out of him pricing. I had to pull out of him, and it was such a. There wasn't the small talk. There wasn't the da-da-da-da-da. And it was so interesting because it's like, I don't know if you've noticed or not, but so many of those tech startups, it's a great product and they raise a ton of money and they don't understand how to human, and the product dies. And I've done so much research on like just going through all of them, the seed funds and the Y combination or whatever. And you'll go through 80 of them and 40 of them are out of business. Yeah. But then if you Google it, there's another one at that same address that they've started up another one. And I'm like, unless you buy a fucking salesperson or a biz dev person, your stuff, no matter how fucking cool it is never going to get out. You gotta have someone who can make a human want to pay for it.
So how do you train somebody in sales?
You throw them to the wolves. You force them to go out and knock on doors. You force them to go hand out flyers and explain something. You get them on phone calls. Yeah. You get them. They follow you around and they go on appointments with you and they see your cadence. Yeah. That's what I did really early in my industry. I followed someone around for 6 months. Every phone call, every drive, every showing, and I just sponged. He was good at it. He was a master manipulator, so he was like good and bad at it. But I only took the good stuff. But I learned like how he weaved and wove through conversations, and I was like, oh, this is easy, because you just give everybody what they want. You just gotta listen to what they want, because if you get to know people, you'll figure out exactly what they want. What do you want? What's your goal? What's your life's plan?
Great question. I'm still working that one out.
Yeah.
The deep questions. Yeah, I don't know. I think you're right. And I'd love to see somebody come up with actually a good sales program.
Why does it need to be a program?
Just something. I mean, like some training, somebody that you could, like if you could grab somebody and find the right people. Because I don't think, the way that we both work and the way that I've seen it, at least in you, you're very keen to pick up on different things with different people. And that means that you can grab it, you can look at it, and you can say, okay, they did this. Why did they do that? Okay, this makes sense. I'm going to put this in this category. And I feel like a lot of people don't see that. Because I know like body mirroring is a good one. If you're keen to it, good body mirrors, you can't tell if they're body mirroring unless you do it frequently. Most of the time, somebody's copying you have no clue.
Nope.
So.
Just dusting it.
Exactly.
No, there's so Chase, is it Chase Murphy? So it's Rick Foss. Rick Foss. Oh gosh, I'm butchering his name.
Foss?
Chris Foss.
Yeah.
And then there's a new guy, Chase. He was on Rogan recently. And I gotta get his last name. Hold on. He actually trained spies to get information out of their
Yeah.
Whatever spies do. What's that called?
Espionage?
Chase, manipulate. Chase, body language. Chase, body language expert. Chase Hughes.
Okay.
I said it right the first time, didn't I? So there's Chris Voss and there's Chase Hughes. And they both are body language experts.
Yeah.
And they teach you exactly how to get what you want out of the other person. I think you can learn tactics, but there is a little bit of like an EQ component. And I think until parents take the tablets and the iPhones out of the children's faces and they teach them how to human, I think EQ is like falling to the wayside. If you have an EQ in 10 years from now, you're top 1%. It is not innate in Gen Zs. Like the younger, like the alphas, the ones coming up, they don't know how to sit at dinner and just be a part of the adult conversations without like getting, like, there's one thing for like ADHD, like I'm bored, but like my kids never had iPads. They didn't get cell phones until they were 15. My son would walk in here right now and shake your hand and like engage with you and tell you your watch is cool. Like just by happenstance, he'd actually like it. And until like I think the younger generation is gonna suffer. So if you even are like mindful of like how you're being perceived, or like if you're curious what EQ is, start studying it as early as possible, because if you can figure out EQ, I'd argue it's way more important than IQ in the future.
Explain EQ versus IQ for people that don't know.
Emotional intelligence versus just your IQ, like
Albert Einstein.
Yeah, Albert Einstein. Like you have a 130, but like you can't look a human in the eye. That I think tech is gonna kind of bury those guys, and they're gonna thrive in where they thrive. But then if you can human, when everything's gone AI for the next 40, 50 years, you're gonna eat. Because everyone wants it.
When AI happens, because people still want people.
People still want people.
You look at it, and there's a lot of people that literally just pay for counseling, and all it is
BetterHelp?
Hugging somebody. Oh, no. Oh. Yeah, BetterHelp. Speaking of.
Yeah.
No, like you look at.
Not sponsored, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But people just want to be like, they'll cuddle for like half an hour to an hour with somebody.
Yeah. Wait, is that a service?
Yeah. You've never heard of this?
Oh, I don't know that I like that.
So basically, it's not sexual or anything. People are struggling for human connection so much that they'll pay somebody just to
oxytocin.
Yeah.
They want a hormone. We are a bag of meat that's on a rhythm with the earth and the solar system, and like our hormones have to be, we have to use them. Or I don't even want to get into it, but like everybody's on fertility treatment. Like why? Like what is off with everyone's health that's causing that? Or 75% of people are pre-diabetic. Like, holy shit, what's happening to humans? They're just kind of like sick and unhappy. So, yeah, if you can figure out human connection, we all need it real bad.
$1 million idea right there.
Yeah. Be like I Am Legend, like the only non-zombies.
Yeah, exactly. The only one looking up from their phone.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. If the zombies come, then they're just going to just chase and wreck me until I die. No one's keeping me. I've got no skills. I've got no skill set beyond making people laugh and selling buildings. So
but the gift of gab. I mean, at the end of the day, like you said,
just gabby. They're like, shut up.
Oh man, no, I don't know. I guess what's the biggest piece of advice you would give to somebody that they hear this, it's an epiphany for them, and they're like, you know what, I want to take a stab at this. What's your playbook to get started?
Oh, playbook to get started where?
Let's say just they're coming to this for the first time.
Sure.
Learn they have to be an alpha, and they've decided that Ferrari's not a good investment, and that going and picking up a new woman every night is not the way to go. Like, I mean, at that point when that person's like, everything else is failing. Yeah. What would you say for them to get a better EQ? Sure. To maybe enhance their life and get some energy behind them?
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of things. I think first you have to be aware that nobody is fucking thinking about you. Nobody cares about everyone's obsessed with themselves 24/7. Everyone thinks everyone's thinking about them because they're obsessed with themselves. So first of all, no one's fucking paying attention to you. And the three people who might be like whatever, they're gonna like just get over yourself. No one's thinking about you. Stop putting yourself on a pedestal. Second, fail in public is hard. Like starting businesses in front of people and announcing it and like being willing to fail publicly is really challenging. but you do it 1,000 times, and like you'll take that rejection with your breakfast. What's a good analogy? Help me find a good analogy for failing. Like, you try to draw a flower 10 times before the flower's pretty.
Yeah.
Like, do those first 10 flowers, like, is that gonna ruin your fucking life? Mm-mm. No, they're just gonna throw them away and start over. And it's like that with businesses, honestly. And if you lean into mentorship and like consulting, don't hire a coach. I guess the courses I think are a scam, but find a real human who's doing it in real life, and like fail as often as you can to get good at it. Don't give up on number 10, because 15 might be, the magic number where like.
Keep going. Because a lot of people.
How do you keep going?
Yeah, because I think that's. The
what else are you
gonna
do?
I'm playing devil's advocate.
No, I know. I can't conceive of like what if you're not going forward. Where are you going? Well, backwards. That's cliche, but like, what is the alternative? To sit in your bed and put on the TV? Who's paying for your rent? Who's paying for the cable? Like, are you gonna go to dinner? Or do you have a spouse? Do you have kids? Like, what are the repercussions of like sitting still?
Yeah.
That's so much scarier to me than writing the book that nobody reads, or putting out the podcast that some dumb bitch says is stupid. Like, what's the alternative?
Yeah.
Living like an empty, sad life. To me, one is much like, you're gonna find reward in that one. EQ, it's Chris Voss and Chase Hughes, and How to Win Friends and Influence People, and The Art of War, and 48 Laws of Power.
Ooh, that book I think is a scary one. The hard part though is I think I gotta say, with all these books,
yes,
if you've got the morals and you've got a good head on your shoulders,
yes,
I think it can be very good.
Yes.
But these books are powerful, at least in my opinion. Like, these give you tricks that you can do most anything with. And I think the only thing is, at the end of the day, you got to remember to do what's right. Because the 48 Laws of Power, I read that book and I'm like, it's heavy. Like, it's a lot of stuff that's like, you could do this and really make some serious headway. But in one direction or the other, you can go to heaven, or you can be taking the express lane to hell.
Sure.
And I just, I think at the end of the day, you're right. And I think those would be some great books for people to jump in on.
They're great books. There's a whole generation of people who they're not humanizing anyone yet, and I don't know that they understand. Like, they don't know when they're being lied to. They don't know when they're being manipulated. They don't understand conflict. So if you read those books, you could have a perspective of like, people are capable of all of that.
Yeah.
So it's almost a level of mindfulness of like, get out of your little bubble, read worst case scenarios, take the good attributes, and just like fucking show up every day, and magic will happen.
And don't be a damn victim.
Gross.
I mean, look, think about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to use you as a case example. I mean, you had a couple kids in high school. Then, you had a bad home or disaster growing up.
Sure.
Fair to say.
Sure.
You have 2 kids in high school. You move across the country.
Yep.
Literally from Florida all the way over to California.
Yep.
Then you end up moving back.
Yep.
The guy joins the military.
Yep.
You're stuck in your own. You could have simply said, you know what? The odds are stacked against me.
I'm hooking.
Exactly. She started an OnlyFans page next week.
And I wish there was an OnlyFans back then. Our life would have been way easier. No, I'm teasing.
Exactly. No,
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
kidding.
At the end of the day, you could have decided, you're like, you know what? I'm going to wake up. I'm not going to do anything. Life was against me. Instead, you're like, you know what? I'm going to go out and kick some ass. Now you've got 14 people working for you.
Yeah.
You run a successful business. You do multi-million-dollar transactions, which in your eyes, it's like, okay, it's another day. But for a lot of people, it's like, I only sell chewing gum.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Someone wants gum, someone needs a building.
Exactly.
It's the same thing.
No, but I gotta say, I commend you.
Thanks.
I appreciate you taking the time to sit down and chat, because I thought this was really cool.
Appreciate you. This is fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to edit out a lot of this.
I'm so sorry. We just bleep, 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 bleep. No, that's the
It's the comedian in you, and I mean, I just think it's hilarious, because there's so many things I want to say in response. I'm like,
sure.
I'm gonna wait till after the podcast.
We'll do that on my podcast.
Are you starting a podcast?
I'd love to, but I can't. It's another job. It's a lot of work.
Not really.
For me, not understanding all of it, I can't half-ass anything. I can't just show up and like pussyfoot. Like, it has to be like this, and I'm like, I don't have the desire, actually. I'll show up and I'll be
Yeah.
I'll be entertaining, I'll be the talent, I'll look the part, but like whatever happens before you got here, while you're here, and after you're gone, I cannot be a part of it. Yeah. I mean, I can post it.
It'd be so easy. We'll talk after.
Okay.
But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Perfect. Yo.
Fun.
Yeah. You ran it right down to the Nevins. Perfect.
I was like, I was thinking of like potential